everybody. 100 episodes of Orange Podcast is bad. We're going to jump into it real fast. We don't have time to celebrate. I'm going to bring up a clip for you right now talking about remdesivir. Let's take a listen.
Remember that in 2018, remdesivir, one of my favorite targets, remdesivir was too unethical to put into Ebola clinical trials in Africa because it had a 53% kill rate published in medical journals. Ebola doesn't have a 53% kill rate, but it was chosen in April and May of 2020 to be the drug of choice to treat COVID. This drug was too unethical to use in an African clinical trial because it was killing 53% of the people that it was given to. And we had Anthony Fauci, Deborah Birx sitting next to the president going, we need to use remdesivir, despite the fact that the World Health Organization said it was unethical to use it. Here's the problem. The problem is, as long as the financial interest that dictates what product is going to be promoted is the one making the declaration of the pandemic, we have no possibility for accountability. We have no possibility for justice. And what we do is we allow people who were formed out of the eugenics office, Carnegie Mellon in 1913, that same group of people that were the same group of people that established the World Health Organization in 1953, that same group of people are the ones who are making this decision. And I don't know how you feel about eugenics, but I have a problem with it.
So I just listened to that again. The word eugenics comes up twice. We need to note that. We'll come back to it. But I want to get into, so remdesivir, his claim is the toxicity level is at 53% non-survivable of using this medication. And all drugs at all levels, they have some sort of toxicity. They all of them do it. Some at least a little bit. Some great, some little.
The biggest grift for years when I was a pharmacy student was those things that quote unquote had no side effects because they had no therapeutic effect. For instance, there was this medication called Persantine, made by Boehringer Ingelheim, who's been swallowed up by who the hell knows what forever. I mean, you can look up their corporate history. And they always said you just need to use Persantin and take as much of it long enough, to make sure you get the therapeutic effect. And yet the grift was that they never studied it outside of aspirin. And the fact is, you were to give Persantine with aspirin all the time and then measure clotting times because it was supposed to stop your blood from clotting so you wouldn't throw a clot and die from a heart attack or a myocardial infarction. And so, but Persantine was never studied on its own and it never did anything. It was inert. And the only drugs that have no side effects are inert drugs. They're useless. They're like sugar tablets or placebos. They have no therapeutic effect, so they have no side effect. Everyone says, "Well, how do you memorize all those side effects?" I don't. I memorize the therapeutic effect, and I know what something does, and then I project what will happen at a different site in the body. So, for instance, aspirin, which shrinks swelling. Okay, and it does. You know that if you've got a throbbing headache and you take some aspirin, aspirin will shrink your vessels in your head, and it stops hurting. Now, all of a sudden, your fingers and toes start tingling. Well, why? They're not getting enough oxygen because the vessels in your fingers and your toes are shrinking also. So that's a side effect, but it's actually a therapeutic effect at a different site.
Correct.
That's functional medicine. When I talk about my nurse Kelly, who's in functional medicine, those are the things that they work with. And many times you'll see a respiratory agent used to stop premature labor because the beta receptors that are in your lungs, that if you stimulate them, your lungs open up, so you can fight. If you stimulate those same beta receptors in a uterus, the uterus relaxes and doesn't contract anymore, because if you're in danger, you shouldn't be giving birth. God absolutely equips us with these defense mechanisms, so you're not going to be delivering your baby during a war. That's why. And that's
Well
why I
well,
always found
and
pharma
funny side note, Viagra's ultimate product was a side effect of something completely
First
different.
one was pulmonary hypertension, yeah,
Yeah, and it's a
right.
and the drug did something else to a different part of the body.
Did
There you
I
go,
have I
that's a
told
side effect. It's also a toxicity, if we're gonna be
of
specific.
course, but have I told that story on this show yet?
No?
Okay, well, quickly, there's 5 guys laying in the respiratory care unit, and for those that aren't familiar with me, this is how I talk. Your left heart, your left ventricle, your left atrium, where you get the fibrillation because of where they try to stop you from stroking. Okay, but the right heart is absolutely as necessary as the left heart. But the right heart only works on sending blood to the lungs. It sends blood to the lungs so it can be oxygenated. You've got to have oxygen to live, and if the right heart doesn't work, you're screwed. You can't exchange oxygen, so you can't breathe, and you're done. So right side hypertension is actually more critically dangerous than left side. Left side you can live with and you can fight through it. Right side, if you wear out your right heart, you're dead. Okay. So they've done plenty of studies on these older guys and guys that they're laying in the respiratory intensive care unit. They're the sickest of the sick. And you've seen them in hospitals. They've got the ventilator on. They've got that. I mean, they're in horrible shape. So they're trying all these different drugs like Lateris and all this other stuff to increase perfusion to the lungs from a weakened right heart, the right ventricle.
Sure.
Viagra is one of those things. And so they were using it to test it for that. And the nurse went in to give these 5 guys that hadn't moved in 3 months a sponge bath.
And found
And
that they had, medical term,
it,
an
it,
erection.
that she started sponging them in the pubic area. And the next thing you know, they're running up the flagpole. And
Yep.
everyone looks around like, "You've got to be kidding!" And I mean that led to several hits on CNBC where Joe Kernan and David Faber had a lot of fun with the boing,
They
and
couldn't
all
help it.
that. And
They
Pfizer
they
stock
couldn't.
shot to 60. It's never been back there since. But the point was it was discovered by accident, and that really it was a side effect of what they were looking for it to do.
What I'm getting at through all of this is we're going to explain a little more about toxicity or side effects, but there's always a toxicity or a side effect to putting something into your body to change your physiochemiology or chemistry.
But for those of you that want to know side effects, what would you predict would be the side effects of doing that? What happens when the blood vessels in your head relax? You get a headache. What happens when the blood vessels in, oh, for God's sake, what happens when the blood vessels in your, you get a headache? You all of a sudden you've got indigestion because you've got too much blood in your digestive system, you've got sputum and stuff like that. So all the things that happened as a result of Viagra in those magical 5 to 6 hours where you felt like you were 20 were a result of vessels dilating in areas that weren't predicted. And
Right.
your heart's racing, or well, of course it is. There's no resistance to your blood pressure. I mean, your
We're
heart's
going.
pumping like crazy. Yeah, yeah. And obviously, one of the side effects might be a heart attack because you get things going too well, like the guy in Russia that took 13 of them, and basically stroked out because he blew out his circulatory system. This is why I find pharmacology to be fascinating, and I love it as a profession. I hate what people like Dr. Science have done to it. Look, Sean, one last time, and I've said this a bunch. My longest Facebook post ever, and I'm never on Facebook anymore, was about how pharmacy was going to rescue us from the pandemic. Now, those of you that have watched a few of the shows with me on it were like, "You were talking about how pharma was gonna pull us out of this." I had taken the bait, hook, line, and sinker. So any of you that think you were being stupid or whatever, you shouldn't have ever believed them, forgive yourself. the prestige of Western medicine was impeccable. You couldn't question them because they knew everything. They were the science. And they said this was a pandemic. So, of course, clinicians like myself are like, well, let's fix it. And then you find out that hydroxychloroquine brings zinc into the cells and kills respiratory viruses. Great. You find out ivermectin does something similar. Great. Okay, we're going to lick this. And then we find out that there's no intention of letting that happen. None.
Can
That's how you get
can
your that's how you get your
can
net worth
can
double,
can
isn't it? Yeah.
can I just bring this up?
Yes.
So this chart right here, if you take a look at it, I know it's small on your screen, but if you pause the video, you'll be able to zoom in on your phone or your tablet or even on your TV, depending on how tech savvy you are. This is a chart from 2017 of sales of COVID 19 test kits in the millions of dollars. So you got right the first one, $17 million worth of test kits. To
That's a healthy expenditure. The
That's a
pandemic,
huge expenditure.
yeah, the pandemic must have been raging, right, Sean?
Oh my, 2017? Absolutely. Can you
Yeah.
believe 2017? Wait, didn't it start
Wait a
in
minute.
2020? Didn't it start in 2020? All right, so you got that's the EU, 17 million US dollars.
Well, you mean
Germany,
they knew it was coming?
Germany, 8.7 million. Well, the United States bought a few, 7.9 million. United Kingdom, 6 point. This is 2017 expenditures for COVID-19 test kits. So we got to think of
2017
in 2017. So wait a minute. I thought COVID-19 came from a bat.
in a cave in China, right?
Yeah, and then it got transferred to a seafood market in China
Yeah. Yeah,
from a bat.
a bat
Because
had
a
sex with a
bat really bats really love shrimp.
they
So
do.
the bats
It,
came out of the cave. They ate the shrimp. They infected the
they
shrimp.
had sex with a pangolin, right?
Yeah, dude, did you
Yeah.
see what that squid did to that bat? Oh my god.
Okay. If you aren't listen, if you are doubting our skepticism, the idea that Western nations were loading up with COVID-19 test kits 3 full years before COVID-19 was sequenced. How do you square that circle? Just please, chat, tell us.
Oh,
How does
drop
that
it in
happen?
the live
How
chat.
are you spending $20 million on COVID-19 test kits when you don't even know it exists? How 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 prescient. And might I point out something, and this seems like a tangent, but in 2018, there's Trump standing at the World Economic Forum, and he's saying, we're never going to be a socialist nation. We're not going to do this, blah blah blah. We're going to pursue an America first policy. And those European elites, the Germans and the rest of those guys, Justin Trudeau, are all sitting there laughing. Why are they laughing? What do they know?
Mm.
What is it that informs their skepticism,
I
Sean?
I might have to do a doom scroll Friday, which is you and Edward, only cause there's a whole bunch of shit that dropped today that's non-related to this show, but intersecting. Like,
Okay.
oh, Jesus, so holy crap! So much came out today. Anyways, back on topic. Well, right? You got to look at this and go 2017. Why are you buying COVID 19 specifically? That's the label of the product. COVID
Hasn't
19
even,
meaning the year 2019.
it
Test.
hasn't even been discovered.
It hasn't been released that it was discovered to the public. Now we've gone through this because we've gone through this for now 2 other episodes and walk people through this. So in 2014, it was before 2014. The NIH, the NIAID were funding and they were in charge of the research of these type of programs, one of which would be SARS-CoV-2 in North Carolina, specifically at the University of North Carolina.
Research Triangle Park, dirtiest sin.
Yeah,
Yes, absolutely.
right, Durham Raleigh area. For those of you who don't
Yeah.
know what the Triangle of North Carolina is, it's the Durham Raleigh area. Three big colleges that you would all recognize, but specifically UNC had a tier one biolab. For those of you that don't know what a biolab is bioweapons research,
Yes.
biological weapons. So what you're doing is you're taking a virus and you're gifting it ability to be more lethal. And the reason they did this is they said we always have to prepare for if this happens in nature. So we have to do it we have to synthetically produce this so we can produce a vaccine. Now does everyone start to go, wait a minute? I remember hearing some of this in the Obama era, and then, a little bit in Trump, and COVID hit. And you go, what just happened? So again, I real quick, Obama in 2014, this is before
Okay.
Trump even had walked down the escalator, had heard about it again, and he went over to that troll, Dr. Science, and said, get this shit off our continent now. So
He did.
Dr. Troll sent it to Ukraine,
In China.
China, and Taiwan.
Yes.
And there was a mistake made in China. And
Yes.
China, you say, well, they covered it up. No, China was covering up for the science
Yes.
because there was
Yes.
so much money in it. You couldn't believe the amount. Like these people literally filled swimming pools and just lackadaisically swam through American US dollars.
Folks, the end game of this was the Pfizer vaccine, which basically shut down Western civilization while we all waited for it. And they told us that it was 95% effective. I still don't know what that was based. 95% effective at what? At being injected? I mean, what isn't 95% effective at being
But it
injected?
wasn't. But it wasn't. It wasn't 95% of being injected. I got it. I'm only jumping in there because this is a thing that's always irked me about this, is because they never were able to get buy-in.
No.
Never able to get, so then they forced buy-in by saying, "If you don't take it, we will take your job. Your children will go hungry. You will not have a job. You will lose your house if you do not take this product." And that
And
is all, like, that, like, to me, that's when I went from level 7 to level 10 on I'm done. We're gonna talk about this. And we're gonna talk
well,
about it
well,
the right way with evidence.
Sean, I went from as I mentioned in 2020, full honk. I mean, imagine the curmudgeon as full honk for Western medicine. This was, and yeah, I adopted my kids and we got them out of Russia cheaper going to the French clinic and whatever. And I didn't pay the $1,000 that I would have had to pay for American medical care and whatever. But I figured I'd figure it
Yep.
out once I got here. Because I'm medically literate, so I didn't need it. But if I didn't know anything about it, hell yeah, I'd have bellied up and paid the money. And the I never doubted them. I never this was obviously on the up and up, and this was important. It was a big deal, and I was thrilled that hydroxychloroquine was gonna unlock this Rubik's cube for us and make it all go away, which is what Trump said. If we all take this, it'll go away. Like it did in Brazil when Bolsonaro put it over the counter and the cases went from sky high down to nothing, like they did in India when they used hydroxychloroquine and it went from 95% down to 2%. I
Yeah.
mean, it worked everywhere it was tried. They didn't even get it in Africa. And it dawned on me that Nobody cared. Nobody cared. I mean, it's like, wait a minute, this stuff is working and nobody cares. In
Did
fact, they're suppressing it. They're using AI to tar and feather it to make you think you shouldn't take it at all.
well, let's remember it's only been 22 minutes. Let's remember back to the beginning of what they said about remdesivir and eugenics.
Yeah.
And then you gotta talk. You use your imagination, but you don't have to use a lot of it. Start tying all this together. Like,
I will. I
uh,
will. And let me just have this. The EUA process is absolute feces. All right. I mean, hydroxychloroquine actually got approval to be used, and they rescinded it so they could introduce the vaccine. They took
well, no, no,
away
no. Yeah, yeah.
hyd-
Let's explain, please, more on that. Emergency Youth Authorization (EUA). Explain what has to happen so that you can get an EUA authorization for something,
there
anything.
has there has to be nothing else that even remotely works for you to get an EUA because it's such an emergency that you've got to do it and throw caution to the wind. If something else will mitigate it, you can't get that approval. That's supposed to be the protection for the public.
So if hydroxychloroquine and zinc, or hydroxychloroquine and something
Ivermectin,
else,
right?
ivermectin, or a combination of 3, depending on what the doctor, if that alleviated the symptoms and the body could then cure itself, that was deemed inaccessible? That's the
You
way
said
I see it.
they tarred and feathered it, said it didn't work. They blackballed it and took it down so they could introduce their vaccine that made Pfizer $100 billion in 2022. That's what happened.
Mm.
And you brought up remdesivir. Same thing. Same thing. Most people don't know that with that 53% toxic kidney rate, if you got remdesivir and you lived, you're a champion because your kidneys were in really good shape. Okay. But
Jesus.
the fact is, my little nurse, who I hope to have on the show soon, uh, broke the cover. The fact that the feds were paying 22% bonus of the entire hospital charge master if you use remdesivir on COVID patients. And if I could have a nickel for every time I tweeted, go home, wait till it hits your lungs, get admitted, come back, remdesivir, ventilator, hearse. That's how it went.
So here I've got posted above the IE Heart HP incentivization document that you sent me. It's there on the
Yes.
screen for everybody to see. And again, if everybody if you guys are disputing this, hit me up on any of our networks. I will send you the actual direct link to all the stuff we're showing. But here is IE Heart HP showing that we're going to incentivize you if you do this specific course
Right.
of
Right.
treatment for your patients. Explain that, but as a pharmacist, you mostly were retail, not hospital, if I'm correct, right?
I did hospital retail
You
and
did both. Okay, okay.
and
Well,
even and even and even long-term care.
hi. By the way, hi, Paul. Where I'm going from that though is that hospital is more susceptible than retail. Retail is still susceptible. Private practice doesn't deal with this shit because they just kick out those people when they come in with the
Right.
hot, sexy nurse looking chick who's trying to sell you a drug. So we have to be clear about this. They are very persuasive when they do this, and they also threaten at the hospital level to pull funding. Retail has enough cash flow that they can say, screw you. We make all our money from patients. We don't really give a crap what you do. Go ahead.
It's more insidious than that.
Go for it.
Doctors make their living with hospital privileges. The big money for doctors is in hospitals overall. And if you're a doctor and you're seeing patients in 2 or 3 hospitals, you need that income because your mortgage and your car payment and your entire life with your children and everything is based on being able to treat patients at those facilities. And in this vice, they found themselves, if you don't follow this protocol, you're fired. Okay? And that happened time and again. And people like McCullough and those guys blew the whistle on this. Robert Malone, I know there's different opinions on him. It's a mixed bag,
Sure.
but I gotta tell you, this was happening. This absolutely happened. They forced their hands, and you got those Indian doctors, and I don't want to disparage anybody, but hey, they're they're
Well,
here looking for they're
when did
looking for their green card and all the rest. They're going to do what you say.
they came after retail pharmacies soon after they figured out that retail pharmacists or even independent pharmacists have their own medical professions and opinions. They came after
Right.
them next. That wasn't the first step. The first step was to go after the hospital doctors. Then
Right.
it was to take down the primary care practitioners, PCPs,
Absolutely.
and then they went after the massive retail pharmacies and said, "If you prescribe this, we will take away your license." And if
Right. And
anybody's
it
on here look and go, "No, no, that never happened." It absolutely happened,
no,
Mary
no,
Kelly.
it
We've got we could go through. I could pull up at least a dozen that I think of, people who have lost their practitioner licenses, had to reapply in a different state, or even nursing licenses, doctor's licenses, all because of the same subject of the science.
think of the Sean, one last thing. If you knew something evil was in the air, it was when you had Gretchen Whitmer shutting down Michigan and walling off the planter area in stores. I mean, just ridiculous. What a toxic bitch. Okay, and I mean, an absolute nightmare. Botox Barbie, yeah, disgusting. But her husband's up boating on a lake while no one else can get out of the house. Just an absolute harridan, a shrew, harpy, all the wonderful terms that you can think of for a toxic woman. And yet, when their barber stood up and said, "Hey, my barbershop's got barbicide, we've got sanitation protocols, we wear gloves, we mitigate infection," and the next day, guess what happened to him? His business license was pulled.
Yep.
And I said,
Mhm.
That's fascism. That's fascism right there. Now I'm hearing all sorts of shit about fascism right now, but what's going on right now is not fascism. That shit was fascism, and that's the only way to package it and to understand it. It was COVID fascism, the entire thing. All right.
No, it was fascism. I was actually looking for something, but it's in a different
No, I
file.
understand, but no, it's disgusting, and
No,
you feel like
no,
this
no,
chill wind blowing on you. Don't you guys
it
see
is
what the hell's going on here?
fascism is private business controlled by government.
Right.
Communism is everything is controlled by government. Socialism is retards that don't realize it's communism. That's
Right.
what you get here. And this was fascism. It was controlling private business. Who was the private business? The hospital networks. And you go, well, but there was private doctors. No,
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 no.
no, no, because
Once you
they all work for some network now
right,
because of Obamacare
that's
that
it.
forces them into a
Once you got
hospital network.
Obamacare in there, this all became possible once they put Obamacare in. Yep.
And then all of the pharmacy benefit managers, I know you guys all hate them because you watch TV. Hold
Yeah.
on. They all died because of Obamacare. When there was 100 pharmacy benefit managers, they actually
Yeah.
provided cheaper prices because there was
And now there's
competition.
4, and now
And
there's
now there's
4.
4. CVS Caremark, if you guys are pissed off about how expensive your drugs are, you should really dig into and start reading about CVS Caremark and the massive amount of profits they
I
rake
know
in
all about them, or
by doing nothing. They're not even a pharmacy. They're a pharmacy benefit manager. They are a middleman. They're no different than like truckers who have to deal with a brokerage.
right.
And that brokerage takes half the money out of the load. So does the pharmacy benefit manager to a patient.
You gotta remember, any money I made was from pharmacy benefit management way back when. I was at Medco and Merck when they bought them and all the rest of that crap, and got a few stock options. Anyway,
No,
yes,
no,
Paul.
no. I'm not saying that PBM didn't
No,
make
no,
people
no, no.
rich.
No, I did. Anyway, Paul. Oh,
Paul,
So my gastroenterologist,
yeah, that dude, that dude.
yeah,
gastroenterologist. Right, that guy.
Oh wait,
gastroenterologist
please tell me it
doctor,
was a chick, because that'd be even cooler.
but she is,
Yes.
yeah. And I'll just say, not that it has any bearing on anything. She's a 36D,
Oh
and
yeah. Uh,
not bad to look at at all.
I'm liking her already.
Yeah, oh yeah, she's one of them gals, JC. You know what I'm
Uh,
saying?
Texas, they grow them
Yeah.
big in Texas, Paul. Yeah.
So she she put me on Wegovy for my liver and my kidneys and my intestines, and that the side benefit I get to lose a little weight. So
All right.
uh Christus Mother Francis is my medical, they're the hospital and all that kind of stuff.
Don't give too much details out, but yes.
Yeah, yeah. No, don't
Yeah.
tell everybody.
So
Yeah.
Not at least not online. We can talk
yeah,
about
no.
privately.
So they called and said, "Hey, dude, we're really happy to announce um, that you've been approved for Wegovy, and your copay is only $1,328 for a 28-day supply."
Wow, what a deal!
And I'm like, I'm, I'm verklempt. Oh,
Paul, that's like 4 McDonald's meals. That's a
Yeah,
deal.
yeah.
I mean, that's a discount, man. I mean, come on.
Wow.
So,
What,
the
40
carriers
$400
say,
a day or whatever? Yeah.
oh, I wanted to tell you, JC, there's a Christus, uh, super underground tactical pharmacy
Okay.
that called me and said, "Hey, you you might qualify for a zero copay."
Okay.
And I'm like, "Okay, probably not because I make 6 digits."
Right.
And I, okay, what do I got to do to see if I qualify for that? Well,
Yeah.
give me the last 4 of your social. So I did. And she goes, "Oh, yeah, you qualify." So now I'm getting it for nothing.
All right.
So,
So working.
assuming this was through a pharmacy benefit manager that's also part-time and a non-government organization, that is, probably advertising the drug. And you know what? And I want you to have the medicines you need, but I'm looking
Yeah,
at the flow chart here.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Alright.
so what? So CVS said, "Yeah, 1328 copay." Walgreens said 1328 copay, and Christus Mother Francis, where we have our hospital and all that kind of stuff. They've got their own tactical pharmacy, and they called and said, "No, no, we got you."
Too much detail about where people could find you if they wanted to cause you harm. All being said,
I'll kill him. I don't give
no,
a
no,
shit.
no, 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 no. That's all I'm gonna say about it. I'm gonna be done saying about it. If you share too much tactile information about the area you live, that's on you. I'm throwing it out there. What I would like you to do, though, is if you get a chance and actually record it. Not video. It doesn't have to be video, but just take a note of it in your phone. Ask the pharmacy. You said CVS Caremark or Walgreens. Next time you need to get a different prescription, it doesn't matter. All right, so here's my price with my insurance. What would be the cash price?
Right.
Because I have been paying cash price for 6 years, and it's incredibly less expensive than the
It's
insurance price.
less than copays. It really is.
Way less.
Wait, what?
Yes. Wild, and I've told you of afflictions I've had, the brain clot. It's still
There's
there, it's not
only
going away.
there's only one
I've
way to
done
get
all
there's only one way to get medicine cheaper than what Sean's talking about. That's if you know the right person. But anyway.
no, 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 that's true, but you got like, and this is what people don't get. They they can so the big fight on the channels, the TV channels, and then the Facebook and then obviously they can't get the young people on Facebook and TikTok is, oh, Donald Crump, I think they call him, or Rump,
Crump.
or Dump, or whatever,
Oh, King
is
King Crump.
like cutting off. The funny thing is, I like it's a super easy secret. It's so easy. A caveman could do it. You can save yourself a bunch of money by saying when you walk. Like when I walk into the doctor's office, I say, "Hey, can I check and see your updated insurance card?" And I say, "No, I'm paying cash today. What's
Right.
the cash price?" And they, oh, do they look? Give me a grumpy look.
They
There's
don't
a
like it.
reason they give me a grumpy look because they make so much more if I'm on insurance than if I pay them cash price. And
Well,
I'm not saving any money because I haven't met my deductible. I probably won't meet my deductible unless something catastrophic happens. Ask for the cash price. It is way, way cheaper than what they charge the insurance companies.
Huh. I didn't
oh,
realize that.
no,
Unbelievable. And if you have some sort of copay,
Yeah.
it's gonna be less than your copay
my
to
friend,
pay
my
cash.
friend Wesley, and I won't disclose his location. He's the vaccine injured guy that I'm hoping to have on next week, and he's really bummed about what the vax did to his heart. And I mean, I need to be sensitive about it. I don't want to air his laundry out because the fact is, he called me up and he was being all, Southern Missouri goober and going on like, "You're going to kick me out of the He-Man Woman Haters Club." I went ahead and took the vax, and I said, "Dude," I
No,
said,
no.
look, I said, "Hey, no, I'm not going to kick you out of anything." I said, "You got to do what's right for you." I said, I think it was a huge mistake." "Well, why?" I said, "We'll see." You know,
Well,
and now he's his heart is 40%, and they want to have it, 55 to 70%. He says, "How do I get it back up there?" I said, "Well, I think Patrick Soon Shong might have an answer for you." I said, "But he's got to get out of clinical trials, and you can walk and you can exercise and you can do all sorts of things, but for now you're going to have to deal with it." And I said, "We're going to have to make sure that you don't have any blood pressure spikes," which is
so
why he calls me in the middle of the night.
real
Yeah.
quick, no, no, and I'm glad he calls you. Thank God he's got a healthcare professional call you. But I want to get at this. So this series that we started, me and JC, of I Am the Science. If you took the thing, or if you took 8 of them, we're not mad at you. We're not mad at you.
Oh, no, not bad at
We're
all.
just bringing you information as readily as it is available to present to you. We are not bringing you hocus pocus. We are not bringing you magic. We are bringing you actual scientific information. And over the course of we're on episode 3 right now. Over the course of this series, which could go on indefinitely, we're just going to break information to you so that you can have a chance to go, wait a minute. Just like I said to Paul, Paul didn't know I could ask to pay cash price, but then you could also ask a pharmacist, is there any chance I can get some ivermectin here? Because, maybe my dog has parasites.
Yeah.
I
will say,
it's an honest thing.
Can I give a plug for someone?
Please.
And I'm not a huge fan of McCullough, but
Well, he was the dude that invented mRNA.
I know, no, it's Malone. But
Malone. Yeah.
It's okay. I do get Jace cases, and in my last Jace case, I was able to get hydroxychloroquine, and it was not prohibitively expensive. They wanted to charge me out the yin yang for ivermectin, but you can, and believe me, you need one of the two, because if you run into a pneumonia that is resistant in your lungs, you need ivermectin or hydroxychloroquine so you can get rid of it. And
I'm looking at the guy on the bottom right.
no, I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to out anybody. I'm just trying to say that's what you got to do. If the doctor tells you it's still in there, that's the stuff you need to root it out. Okay, and
Well,
the medication is available, and some doctors will let you have it, and some won't. I mean, Sean, I have not given you a cite from Mary Talley Bowden. None of us would want to walk the path that she's walked.
Holy crap.
I mean, she was there with the frontline doctors. She was there with everyone who was counter detailing this nonsense. And she has been destroyed by the Texas Medical Board. And the Bush junta down there is still after her.
They want to put her in prison. They want to put
her in jail. And her legal bills are off the charts. I mean, I started a give, send, go for her. I mean, she's a friggin' warrior. I would want her to be my doctor. Okay. But she wasn't involved with networks because she was just basically ear, nose, and throat. So she was that unicorn. She was that independent that could speak her mind and not follow hospital protocol. And so she was like the Statue of Liberty for me during the COVID fight. And I've told her several times, you are tempting me to move to Texas and put a pharmacy right next to your office. I said, and then you and I can heal people together. Because I am sick and tired of watching this bullshit, of watching the American medical care system kill people for profit. I've had enough of it.
So I'm pretty connected down here, and I could probably get you a visa to come to Texas.
Well, Paul, I'm looking for a new place to live in about 6 months. So yeah, I mean, it could happen.
Hey, East Texas is great, brother. You'll love it. And you know what? We got a couple of little spots that we could go and hang out and solve world problems and stuff.
Well, I got to tell you, a little girl from the HOA pulled into my driveway today, and she was so demure, and she didn't want to upset me or anything like that. She started talking about a tree because Broomhilda, who lives next door to me, okay, is always bitching about something. Well, I didn't know if you knew this was your tree, and I said, I never thought about it, and of course I know it's my tree, but the fact is I don't even own the place anymore, so I don't give a damn.
Right?
Of course, I'm not going to tip my hand. It's not my problem. So I'll call someone and have them take a look at it. Yeah, okay.
Oh my gosh. We don't have HOAs in Texas, dude.
Oh,
yes, you do. You actually have Muslim compounds in Texas.
Sean, I'm trying to encourage him to come to Texas.
Thank
you so much, brother.
And Muslim compounds. All right.
It
Alright,
won't
Yeah.
take a whole. It won't take a whole lot to get me down there. I promise.
so I am the science. Let's go back into this.
All right.
Attorney General Ken Paxton. Here's the
Oh,
document.
my
It
man.
He is
Anyway, all right.
suing Big Pharma over Tylenol. So let's get into why he's suing that. It's because they never mentioned actually they did mention. They mentioned for 2 decades you should probably not take this if you're pregnant. And then
Right.
all of a sudden Bobby Jr. comes in and says, "Hey, by the way, you should not take this if you're a pregnant woman." And Tylenol, like Tylenol's like, What are you talking about? We never said that." And the incredible thing was that the internet is forever. So the internet brought up all their Facebook posts, all their tweets, and posted them and said, "You said do not take this if you're pregnant." And so America's Attorney General Ken Paxton, out of the great state of nobody,
Texas.
no,
Texas.
all right, out of the great state of Texas, said, screw you. I'm going to sue you all for not disclosing this information properly. And this, to me, gets into the biggest problem we've had in the last 20 years, JC, is informed consent.
Yes. 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 We okay, Sean. I listen. I'm not some kind of soothsayer. Okay. I've found religion in the last 5 years. Okay. And each decade of my life, I always say, am I going to learn as much in the next 10 years as I did the last 10 years? And I always think it's like impossible, because of all the things that have happened to me and all the insights that I've gained. The stuff that's come to me in the last 5 years has been a fire hose. And I mean, the very guy who was an apologist for American and Western healthcare has become its biggest critic because they've overstepped their bounds and they are reckless profiteers. I mean, they make Jack Sparrow and the gang on the Black Pearl look like little leaguers. I mean, $100 billion for Pfizer in 2022. Folks, those of you that are with us, I had so many public employees tell me on Twitter, "Oh, not everybody's in on it. How could everybody be in on it? Well, no, that's not possible." And I'm like, wait a minute. Do you guys have any idea how much $100 billion is? I know
It's
the
not
federal government's. Go ahead,
it's
Sean.
not that all federal government employees are in on it. It's that all federal government employees fear losing the decent job that they have, and it's a job, if
It's,
they have to toe the line.
but see, the thing is this. It's 435 congressional districts in the United States, right?
Nope,
435. We capped it. We've talked about why that was a mistake, but it was, all right? A
it's
hundred
changed, but
billion,
yes.
$100 billion is $227 million per district. Per district. How much do you think it costs to buy off everyone? When the Chinese got the president of the United States for less than 50 million. Are you kidding me? Yes, you can buy off everybody. And our colleges and universities, Triangle Park, the rest of them, they're all captured by the Chinese communists and by the money that's involved in these grifts and holding the EUA in place so they can milk the entire medical care system for $100 billion and get away with it scot free and now look like heroes because now they're going to give Trump a discount. I,
Yeah,
I, I don't.
you're 100% right and accurate on this. Do you think there's a chance that Bobby Jr. can convince Trump to literally break up
Yeah.
the mega insurance companies and call
Yeah.
them
That
for what
monopoly.
they are, and go back. Well, no,
Yeah.
no, and go back to what you and I remember in our early pharmacy days. there was a pharmacist, there was an insurance company, sorry, in every
Right.
town.
Right. Well, okay,
And it
let
wasn't
me
just 5 major national insurance or international insurance companies.
let me preface it with this, Sean. I in preparation for the show today, I sent you one other thing. It was about the fact that they just fired Hatfield. And I would have said yes until I saw them fire Hatfield. Hatfield was the original doctor on War Room Pandemic who was blowing the whistle on all the bullshit. And
Sure. Yeah.
he just got fired
Yeah.
by Kennedy's HHS. Now, Bobby needs to find religion and bring his ass back. I mean, I don't even know what happened, but obviously Bobby's as much in control of HHS as counterfeit cash is in control of DOJ. It's the same thing. Now, that's the negative, that's the downside. If I want to give you the optimistic side, it's this. Everyone, Bannon and just shut up, Steve. But they all want to say we're burning daylight. We don't have that much time. No, 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 no. Time is what we actually have. The fact is that Trump
What'd you say?
is moved.
Time is what we actually have?
We do
Yeah,
now.
time
Okay.
is what we have. Trump is moving like Rommel across North Africa. Every step is calculated, every move is plotted and weighed and measured against outcome this, outcome that, and he's got a lot to consider. And I see that the Israel First Caucus is freaking out because they think Vance is going to win. They don't like that. That's fine. We'll deal with that when we get to it. But the fact is, time is actually what we do have if we're able to sustain the march. And if you make mistakes now, you won't be able to sustain the march. And so Trump is being cautious, but also incisive and opportunistic. I mean, blowing up drug boats, Paul. I get a chubby every time I see a drug boat blown
Oh
up because
my God, dude.
I think of you, brother.
Yeah. I want to call all my boys at the FBI and go, can I come back? I'm
Yeah, yeah,
only 68.
Right?
yeah. Yeah. And you even saw the last one was the guy looking up at the drone
I love
before
that.
he played. He knew
Yeah,
it was
he's like the
coming. Yeah.
mayor of Hiroshima. He's like, what was that noise?
So here's why we have time to more specifically hit what JC was saying. Here's why we have time, listeners, is because obviously the Democrats shut down. Their messaging has
Failed.
failed. Absolutely failed. And here's why it's failed. You're gonna go, well, no, it's Trump's shutdown.
No.
Well, Trump doesn't have a bill, and then you're gonna go, well, it's the Republican shutdown. Well, they presented you a bill. They presented you a spending bill,
Trump's
a
13
clean spending
times.
bill that would literally get you to what is it now? October 29th.
December.
That would
Yeah.
get you to November 22nd.
Hey.
And so when you come out and you cry about SNAP, when you cry about Medicaid, when you cry about Obamacare, when you cry about the VA, oh, it's so easy. A caveman could do it. There's this one
Paul.
simple trick: pass the House spending bill.
Hey, Paul. Paul. For what it's worth, Trump has mastered shutdown politics. He
Yes.
studied it and he's got it. And he got the money up front for his big, beautiful bill, and he got his changes. And they're trying to get him to give back everything and add $1.5 trillion in spending in 7 weeks. That is a losing message.
It
And
is.
the last time the Republicans had things this much in hand was when McCarthy surrendered to Biden on the debt ceiling with the help of Thomas Massey with his key vote in the Rules Committee, Sean. And I hate that bastard more than life itself. Okay, I mean he's a fraud. But the fact is, he showed his true colors when he caved into Biden's spending and opposes all Republican spending. Just get away from me. You're a zero. I don't want anything to do with you, Massey. You're a factotum. Seriously, you're a joke. just
Well,
like
I don't know
Little
if it
Wayne.
I gotta
Go ahead,
say,
Paul.
we're a small company,
Yeah,
and right now we're hemorrhaging money
I bet you are.
because I've got
The shutdown. Yeah.
yeah, I've got 60 people in Fort Hood. It's now down to 4. I got 126 people at Fallon, Minot, Grand Forks, uh, and that, and it's down to 15.
It's gonna,
We got
Paul.
to get this
It's
sorted,
gonna be
dude.
over. It's gonna be over in 10 days. Mark my words. It's not gonna last.
Maybe.
I mean, Schumer's just gonna have to suck it and go
You
ahead and
know,
pass the bill.
no, no, no. I say maybe, and I'm saying maybe because so in March, Schumer had this opportunity to shut the government down and do this same argument and do the
What?
same thing to Trump, and so now he's doing it now. And for let's look at it for what it's worth.
He had a much
He
stronger hand in March.
it still wouldn't have won, but I think Johnson wouldn't have been ready. Yeah, maybe you're right. Johnson wouldn't have been ready yet to do this. But you got to also look at this. Even though Paul's company's hurting, lots of companies are going to start hurting.
People are getting
Who,
killed. Yeah, there's no
who,
doubt.
who did this? They're going to blame it on Trump. They're continually blaming it on Trump. Trump doesn't have a bill on his desk. It's not Trump. The messaging war is
It's
lost.
Schumer.
It's Schumer, and the Democrats on both House and Senate have no idea because they never lost a messaging war. They've been
No.
phenomenal at their messaging. They lost this messaging war, and here's why they lost.
Even
Here's why they lost the messaging war. It's because they haven't convinced a single Republican to call their senator or their congressman and tell them to change their vote. That's why they lost this messaging war. Not a single Republican has moved on from this. They
Yeah.
haven't
no,
changed their mind. Not a single voter has changed their mind.
none,
They
zero.
lost. They lost.
And
And
I
they don't
mean
know what to do with that. They don't.
The Democrat media are now challenging them on this shutdown
Chuck
because they,
Todd, of all
yeah,
people, Chuck Todd is saying,
Oh,
look, listen,
God.
listen,
Oh, for
this isn't.
God's sake.
Oh, I wish
I
I had
know,
the video clip. I'd play it for you. Chuck Todd says, "No, no, no, Senator. This is actually on the Democrats."
yeah. Caitlin Collins is challenging Democrats on the shutdown. Caitlin Collins, my favorite cigar store Indian.
Uh, if you could only understand the comedic value of that, you'd be dying, gut wrenching, laughing right now of what
I
he
mean,
just said.
no, her makeup reminds me of a cigar store Indian.
Oh,
And
my God.
I'm reminded of my favorite talk show host in New York City who taught me that term. There was during the Stinkins administration, there was
Uh,
a police commissioner named Lee Brown, and they called him out of town Brown because he was never in town.
Right.
And Clinton named him the drug czar in his administration. So you got one of these New York Jews, and he calls up on the phone, Mr. Grant. I don't understand. There's a out of town Brown, the police commissioner, and now he's a drug czar. What's that all about, Mr. Grant? I don't understand. And Grant says, "Well, you gotta understand, Jimmy in Brooklyn." He says, "They had two jobs available. One was drug czar, the other was cigar store Indian." He says, and they already had Al Gore. So obviously the only position that was open was drug czar. I, honest to God, I never stopped
Holy
laughing. That was like
shit.
the funniest ad lib I've ever heard in my life.
Holy crap!
That's amazing, dude.
Yeah,
All right, you guys
no,
want you guys want to run a little long? I want to do this Joe
yeah, go
Rogan
ahead.
thing you sent me.
Go ahead.
And well, the whole clip, like the clip itself, 7 minutes. We're gonna be running
That's
way
fine.
long.
No, I got time. Go ahead.
All right.
Do it. Do it. As the emperor would say.
don't have
Anakin
crippled
standing there
kids.
with
Yeah.
lights.
What
Yeah.
when you look at the historical timeline of polio, what do you think caused it to go to essentially not be a problem anymore?
Okay.
You don't think vaccinations had anything to do with that?
Well, it's not what I think, because that's the thing. Like, look, when I got
Right.
into this,
I'm
I
saying it the
didn't
wrong
say,
way.
oh, I want to argue that vaccines are great. I said, look, I don't care. I didn't have skin in the game. I didn't have vaccine injured kids. I couldn't have cared less about it, essentially, except that it was something in front of me and it didn't make sense. So I thought, wherever the truth falls, that's what I'm going to talk about. So what I say is that what the facts line up to show you is that polio is still here. Polio is still alive and well. Polio is called different things today, whereas back in the 1940s, 1950s, the criteria for diagnosing polio were completely different to the year that the vaccine was introduced. The playing field, the goalposts, everything was
JC, what is polio called? I got the video paused. What are they calling polio now if she's saying they just changed the name?
Well, basically, it's like ALS and stuff like that. There's a variety of things
Right?
that right. No, and but you never hear the word polio anymore because they are scripted in the idea that it's gone. Seriously.
Let's continue.
changed
All right.
so that despite the fact that there was more paralytic polio in the years after that vaccine was introduced, they were able to show a complete cascading drop of paralytic polio simply because of the way they changed the definitions of what polio is and what could cause it. And they started testing for the virus, where before they would never test for the virus. And when they started testing for the virus later, what they would find that people had Guillain-Barré syndrome, they didn't have virus, or they had Coxsackie virus or echovirus, or they were lead poisoned or mercury poisoned, which was the mercury and lead were the leading treatments of the day, including bloodletting.
The mercury
They were telling people
that's in the vaccine. Exactly. Right.
Right, and
Right.
on that, right, you also have to look at not just mercury in the vaccine, but you have to look at, what was happening around, humans at the time because we were using, toxic substances in our daily work life and in our homes, and then we finally were able to at least eliminate some of those, and let's
Sean,
continue the video. No, go on.
let's go back to Edward Soon Shong one more time. We continued to try to poison our way to health, right?
Right.
And the fact
Toxicity,
is
which is
that
what I
right,
wanted to
right,
talk about.
exactly. Poison is poison. And you're not without enhancing your immune system, you're not going to be able to improve your health. Your immune system is what saves you. It's what God gave you. Augmenting the immune system has to be the focus. And yet, if our medical model from back in the day before the miracle of penicillin was discovered was to try to poison our way out of disease. And to a certain extent, we've never overcome it.
Whoa,
And,
wait. What isn't that what at least chemotherapy was for the last 70 years?
and
Was
still
poisoning your
is,
way out of it?
and still is trying to poison your way out of cancer. That's right. Which is why Patrick Soon Shong's interleukin 15 shot, the BioShield, actually holds so much promise because it actually helps your body overcome cancer instead of poisoning the cancer cells.
Let's keep playing this.
Okay, go.
take your cigarette and put a little bit of arsenic in there. It's good for your lungs. Yeah.
Oh, do you remember that? They literally put
Yeah.
arsenic in cigarettes. I'm going to continue.
They were
We're
literally
having
blowing
to-
smoke up people's butts. Like that's where the term comes from. Because if you want to Google that now, you'll see that there's an
I've actually
instrument that
heard
does it.
Yeah.
So, the polio story, where to even begin? And so there's about 70 pages. And so that became my obsession. So when people said, what about polio? And I started digging this up, I went deep into it.
Did you dive into pesticides?
Yes, you have to dive into pesticides. Because the tonnage of production of DDT absolutely mirrored the diagnosis for polio.
What is DDT? Anyone?
DDT is a neurotoxin used for insect control. When she
Okay,
says
thank
things
you.
like listen. Let's just before you go back to the video. When she says things like Guillain-Barré and all the rest of this, These are the same things that the COVID shot created in people. You've heard those terms, Guillain-Barré, it just seriously neurologic stuff. That's what poison does to you. It creates neurologic problems. Okay?
Well,
Sure.
I've seen too many people go way too early from ALS,
Yes.
which all of these things would lead to
Create.
ALS.
Yes.
All right, let's play some more.
In the days. And the countries that still make DDT today is where we're still seeing this paralytic polio situation happen.
And also, weren't the first cases, did they break out in a rural community?
The first cases of polio, yes.
In the United
very
States,
good.
paralytic
Yes.
polio.
Yes, it was out in the countryside. Well, that was probably more because of the sheep and cow dipping. So arsenic, you have to look at arsenic, you have to look at the mercurials, you have to look at the calcium arsenate, lead arsenate sprays that were put on trees. But what you're talking about in
Oy.
particular, they would call the cow disease. They'd go out in the family, when you would go to the house, they'd say, all the kids have the cow disease, what the cows had before. Well, what were they doing? They would have these trenches. You talk to farmers, even today. Oh, yeah, we had trenches. We would just walk them straight through, and I'd be soaked with the stuff by the end of the day.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. So they're basically soaking and bathing in arsenic, which is great for killing fleas and ticks. But it's not really great for keeping your nervous system happy, because the fact of the matter is, and this again, I've got medical references, everything. I can't get away with making stuff up, okay? I have to put a reference for everything. But arsenic causes the exact same spinal pathology that, and fevers and everything.
We need to talk about arsenic real quick. So arsenic obviously is used as an insecticide. It was put into the wood we use in building homes and
Yes.
buildings. And so now she's talking about arsenic and how that leads to disease. And then right all of a sudden it was a 70s. They said, "Oh, we
Yeah.
can't use arsenic anymore. We're just not going to use it." But wait, you had 150 years of poisoning a population, JC, with arsenic to treat wood to build homes and businesses with wood. You treated wood with arsenic, and here we are. Like, so this whole clip is fascinating to me. But oh wow, Jesus, JC. Any comment? I'm gonna play more.
Not from me.
All right.
Literally mimics what they were calling polio and a polio virus back in the day.
I read this crazy statistic, and I still can't believe it's real, that 95 to 99% of all polio is asymptomatic.
Is that true, JC?
Yes.
That's exactly right. So polio virus is what we call a commensal. Just like you have staph on your skin and strep on your skin, and it actually serves a purpose. It keeps other microbes in check as long as you don't get a cut and have not a good immune system to deal from the inside out. So polio, the reason I can say that polio is a commensal is because, again, there are medical studies that showed that people who dared to get on the edge of some of these wild native tribes down in South America or elsewhere, but in particular I'm talking about a South American tribe called the Javante Indians. So the Indian Health Service got to the edge of it and bargained that they would get some stool and some blood from the tribes so that they could test it for polio. And what they found was 98 to 99% of every person they tested, and it was hundreds of people, had evidence of immunity to all three strains of polio. And they said to them, well, where are all your crippled children? Where's your short legs? Where are the people that died of respiratory failure? And they were like, we don't have any of that problem.
What are you
So,
talking about?
it was-
Yeah. Yes.
You know, I'll pause it. Explain more, JC.
No, I mean, the fact is that they continue to extrapolate their theories on real life evidence. And the best way I can say this is look at autism in the Amish, and they don't have it.
Well,
Right.
and they don't have polio, and
Right.
I just recently lost a friend to ALS.
Right.
He
But
was only 60.
yeah, and I'm 63, so I take that seriously.
Yeah, like,
You're not that far away, Sean. I mean, you'll get
no,
there.
actually,
Yeah.
my birthday was what day is it today? Wednesday. My birthday was yesterday.
Okay, well, happy birthday.
No, like that's not important. But so 48 for
Well,
everybody
it's
that's
important.
listening.
It's important to your friends, right, Paul? Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah. All right. Let's listen to no more.
Could
Well
it
known.
all right.
possibly be that whatever you're calling polio evolved and became less powerful over time and more contagious? That does happen with some viruses, right?
Most viruses in nature don't become more problematic as they go through the human system. They become less problematic. Remember
Right.
the whole COVID thing. Like in the beginning, people were getting super sick. Wasn't as contagious, but it was more virulent. And as it attenuated into the human bodies, it sort of it kind of fizzled out a bit. And then we got the Omicron, which was less. It was more spreadable, but it was much less pathological. And that's the natural process that happens. So when you're going to have real problems with microbes, they're usually going to be reverse attenuated, meaning made more lethal in a lab, and then they're in.
I
Well,
had to
how
stop
about
there,
that?
John. I had to stop right there. I know you probably want to comment. I'm sure. Let's just move forward. But I want to hear everybody. I want to make sure everybody heard that they're made more lethal in a
More
lab.
lethal, more virulent in a lab than they are if you just let people get infected. Dr. Scott Atlas, take a bow. All right. Yeah. Who? Anybody remember him? Yeah. I mean,
Let's continue.
Sean, for what it's worth, you know Trump did the absolute best he could under those circumstances. And if he would have known that Pence was a deep state mole, he would have handled COVID completely differently. And I
Well,
find
I don't think.
my
Listen, I don't
Mike
think
Pence.
Trump knew that Fauci was the guy
You
that
mean
Fauci was.
Doctor Science,
No,
right? Yeah.
I'm specifically talking about Fauci here and not the science. I don't believe that he. I believe that he trusted Dr. Fauci. I'm not
Yes, he
talking about
did.
our control of the science, the program we're running. I totally believe he believed that, and that was one of the things that Trump. You're going to look at things with presidents. You're going to go, in the history, like when Reagan, obviously, mass amnesty, which turned California blue, not because it legally turned California blue, because it illegally turned California blue by mass amnesty and illegals. Anyways, let's listen to a little more.
Introduced into the population. And look, I'm not making this up either. 1916, Upper East Side, Manhattan, there was a Rockefeller lab that their specific stated goal was to try to create the most pathological, neuropathological strain of polio possible. And they did that by taking monkey brain.
Can I stop right there, Paul? By 1916, we were looking at the World Wars.
Right.
We didn't know World War II was going to happen yet.
That's right.
But we didn't have incredible weapon systems. So we were looking at bioweapons, which are viruses, right? And so that would explain where this is coming to 1916
Sure.
polio using it
No,
as a virus.
absolutely.
Am I incorrect?
No, you're right.
All right.
100%.
All right, let's move on.
And human spinal serum and injecting it into monkeys. And there was a big problem with that, which was released into the public by accident. And the world experienced the worst polio epidemic on record, 25% mortality. That's unheard of. Really freaked the public out. But you can see the epicenter as it fanned out. And as time went on, never heard of it again. It attenuates as it moves through the body because it's a normal human commensal that goes back to its normal state when it's in a human. And that's generally what happens. If you have a highly lethal virus and it kills a lot of people, those people are dead. They can't spread anything. So that's kind of a different story if you want to talk about hantavirus or something like that. But as far as polio goes, no, polio was only made more lethal by the stupid things that humans did around it. So make it more invasive into the body, just like you can go do stupid things and end up with herpes outbreaks and staph outbreaks.
Yes.
Polio virus is a
Yes.
normal commensal. It used to be until we obliterated it with oral vaccines and replaced it with
I,
vaccine strain. But
All right,
I love, I love, I love, I love,
I'm gonna close
I
that video
love this
out.
woman. I
I'm gonna
love
close
this
that
woman.
video out. Can you explain? I know, you're moving on, but can you explain to me, JC, why we're not actually treating to help either make people feel better or heal. We're only, and if you look at this has been going on. You're talking about the polio vaccine. You're talking about
I
1910,
know. I
1913,
know.
1920.
I
Right.
know.
Why is the Americans got the best? And I don't want
Uh,
you to be upset, like listeners. America still has the best medical profession in the entire world ever, albeit broken. But why are we going down these paths, JC?
money.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish it was more complicated than that.
Can we
Sean, in this last 5 years that I've told you that my eyes have been, I mean, I feel like I'm Paul on the road to Damascus. All right. And the scales fall from your eyes and you see everything, like
Right.
Christ the Savior, whatever. The fact is that federal people in general, bureaucrats, the weaponized bureaucracy, elected representatives. I mean, Sean, you and I both have liked many of the things that MTG has done, right?
until about the last year or so, yes.
Right, right. I know she's not perfect, but no one is.
Yeah.
She got $24 million in the bank.
Go figure.
Yeah, well, exactly. That's actually the point, isn't it? I mean, she becomes Dan Crenshaw East. I mean, human beings
Yeah.
are never going to change. If you look at the Bible, which I look at for my source of human wisdom about how human beings have always operated, and the pitfalls that the ancient Israelites fell into as they sojourned through Gaza or whatever the hell it was, or the Sinai Desert or whatever, they fell victim to the same appetites and passions as we do
Right.
today. There's
Right.
no moral progress whatsoever. So the fact is that a $7 trillion federal budget, which shouldn't even be called that, it should be called a cornucopia of special interests. All right, the graft possibility is just so overwhelming that it takes balls of iron to stay away from it. And anybody who doesn't participate, like Madison Cawthorn, and blows the whistle on the sex orgies and parties
Sure.
and all the rest of that shit, gets himself drummed out of there right away. Well, maybe because he was paralyzed, he wasn't able to participate. I mean, I don't even want to speculate on what was wrong. Okay, but the point is, anytime you try to get to the root of it, they eliminate that person. It's like a parasite. They've been trying to do that to Trump for 10 years. It's like there's this organism that is trying to expel this invader, and it rejects him across the board, year after year, time after time, interaction after interaction, and it's like the Terminator. He just won't go away.
No, I agree. But
He's- he's-
Paul. So, it's specifically to Paul. Do you
Yeah.
see the Trump administration number, the second one, 47? Pete Hegseth, Bobby Jr., Democrat, by the way, very
Right.
socialist
Of course,
Democrat.
our best
Uh,
Republicans have always been Democrats,
no,
always.
no, but do you see this as where Trump is just like, I really don't give a crap. We're just going to fix it. Or do you see this as a typical Republican George Bush era thing? Is we're just going to persevere? And you've got the knowledge and the age to comment on that.
So I have to say, I don't think that it's George Bush kind of we're just going to do this kind of thing. I do believe that we're going to, or Trump's going to set the standard, and people are going to react to that. 100%, dude. It's just not in the cards that he's going to do the same old, same old, same old. That's not him.
Well, which we all thought he wasn't, and he didn't, wasn't going to do in his first term, but he ran up against the government. The government
Well,
this time is finding it much harder to deal
they
with Trump
sandbagged
this
him. They
time.
sandbagged him with Mueller within 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
Well, and
I mean,
then
Mike Pence. How the hell does anybody? You could get me ranting, but how the hell does anybody know that General Flynn lied to the vice president if they weren't the ones feeding the vice president the information, and that means James Comey. All right. So Pence was in league with Comey and the bad guys the entire time, and he's the only member of the Trump administration that didn't get a 6 a.m. FBI raid. Fuck that guy. All right. He's a traitor.
I mean, I can't say wrong.
No,
I,
I mean,
I,
you gonna
I have.
speak to Mike Pence's good character? Are you kidding?
I was
I
a
mean,
Hoosier.
Tucker Carlson sitting there in a candidate for him. Mr. Pence, you're a
I was a
Christian leader.
Hoosier for
Yeah,
Mike
you're a
Pence.
Christian leader, and what do you say about Zelensky arresting all the clergy and closing all the churches in Ukraine? Oh,
Cricket. Cricket.
that's not my concern. Oh, and why does LA look so shitty and Kiev look so great? Well, that's not my concern either. You just eliminated yourself from the nomination. Thank you, Mr. Pence.
He was always eliminated. So Mike Pence, and he actually, I was a Hoosier while he was a governor
I know you
of
were.
the state of Indiana, right? Like in his big coming to fame that he thought, we all thought it was retarded, was the Religious Freedom Reform Act, RFRA, that basically said that the Constitution is the Constitution, and you can't you can't sue people because they don't want to bake you gay pig.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
that's it.
Make your gay
Right?
cake, right? Yeah.
Yeah, they don't want to. So that was his thing. That was his
Sean,
moniker. That was his
now,
term. Was RIFRA, and even I'm telling you, when I was a Hoosier at the time, nobody gave a shit. Nobody on
Sean,
the left, nobody
you'll
on the
never
right.
take it from Paul and I. You'll never not be a Hoosier, Sean.
No, I'm aware. I still do a lot of offline political work with Hoosiers.
All right.
Absolutely, yeah.
Salt
So
of the earth, those
no,
Hoosiers.
no.
Yeah.
Obviously, if I could do some damage to North Carolina and their politics, I will. So
All
I
right.
do that too. So, so at this point, I literally consider myself a dual citizen. I have a kid that lives in Indiana, and I'm out here in North Carolina.
You're like one of those dual agents like Nicole Maliatakis, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Totally
citizen of
Russia. Totally
citizen
Russia.
of Israel and the United States. Okay.
Yeah, well, I was thinking Russian because at least if you say you're Russian, I could pee on people.
Absolutely. That's what you got to do. And then you can tape it and be friends with Comey. Yeah.
You're out of control, Sean.
God. Well, history is a son of a bitch.
Ain't it though?
All right, let's close this one out, fellas.
Yeah,
Man, this was
mercifully,
fun.
yeah.
Hey, just for everybody that is still listening, because we ran way long. I can't even see how many people are listening. We're going to take Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday off. You might just get a pop-up out of us. We don't know yet, but
Could happen.
we're off. We're off for 4 days.
right.
Join us again soon. All right?
Sounds good.
Okay,
All right, folks.
good.
Love you guys. Thank you for listening. It's super impressive. Give us a time.
Give us a star.
I gotta hit a button, then another button fall. It's weird. Good night, everybody. More podcast bad.